Wow, hello, Atlanta. Wow. You're here today, so I got to do it. 27-13, Atlanta here on this one. 2 minutes left in the game. You're in good shape. You're going to win this thing. Falcons. Hey, how lucky are we? Doug Emhoff, an incredible partner. He is going to make the greatest and the first gentleman of the United States, Doug Emhoff. I love getting to know this guy over the past few months. Incredibly grateful. To Maya, thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for the hard work you're doing. Thank you for bringing your powerful message. And can I just say, Georgia, thank you for sending Lucy McBath to the United States Congress. She's there working to protect all our children. And I have to tell you, I got a chance back here. You're going to hear from some folks. As soon as I get off the stage, we're going to get a little bit of entertainment up here. A huge thank you to Michael Stipe, John Bon Jovi, the Warren Treaty, and all the talent. I can't tell you how great it is when you finally get to meet your idols, and they're actually cooler than you thought they were. These guys are. They're out here doing it. And I'll say this, Tyler, thank you for that incredible kickoff to this thing. Let's all agree, after we win this election with Kamala Harris, this next generation of leaders like Tyler, we're going to be just fine. We're going to be just fine. And thank you to all of you. Look around this. Look around this room. You could be anywhere. You could be doing anything at home. Hell, you could have been watching the Falcons. You could have been doing all that. But you didn't. You came here simply because you love this country. Thank you for that. Thank you. Wow. What a privilege. You've been hearing it, and we've been saying it how many months we had, then how many weeks, then how many days. Folks, we're down to about 48 hours. About 48 hours. 48 hours to not just shape the next 4 years, but to shape the next 40 years and generations to come. Now, I know for this room, because I want to be clear, I understand clearly that I am preaching to the choir. But our recital is in 2 days, choir. And we need to sing. We need to sing. So there are folks out there, though, that still haven't made up their mind. And I know you've heard it from folks. It's kind of hard to believe, but you've heard them from them. This is the line I get. From folks I know, family, some of these, you get them. They say, well, you know, I really can't stand Trump and the stuff he does. And we're all saying, oh, really? You know, after this. But then they pivot to this. But he was good on the economy. That's a little fuzzy, people. I think it's important, again, to just set the stage about that. 4 years ago, during Donald Trump's time in office, we had lost 2.7 million jobs. Unemployment was way up. And this guy's refusal to listen to experts, he so botched the pandemic. Tens of thousands of Americans died needlessly, and the rest of us were thrown into a hunger game to try and find toilet paper with our neighbors. That's what he did. Now look, if he's talking about 4 years ago, if you were a billionaire, you could probably agree with him because you got a tax cut and the rest of us got squat out of the deal. Now, if he gets back in the White House, he's promised, yeah, hell forbid that. Let's go. If he gets back in, he's talking about a $2 trillion cut in spending. J.D. Vance specifically said to do that, they will go after Social Security. And they're starting to get a little cocky and saying the quiet stuff out loud. Speaker of the House, the guy that no one knows because it took like 10 weeks to get one from them, this guy says they're going to gut the Affordable Care Act. But you know it. You know they're going to go and try and get rid of it. And you know what happens when the ACA goes away. For them, it's just they talk about it. It doesn't matter. pre-existing conditions for all of us. That was the genius of Obamacare. It put control of your health care back with you, not insurance companies. Now, Donald's had 9 years to come up with a plan for health care. He's now morphed it into concept of a plan. But look, he tries now because the ACA is popular. People kind of like having health care. They kind of like taking their kids to the doctor when they need to. They kind of like not going broke and losing their houses because they had a health scare. So it's really popular. But that didn't stop him the first time. He ran on repealing the ACA. He signed an executive order to try and repeal the ACA. He signed on to a lawsuit to get rid of the ACA. And 60 times, he, along with the Republican Congress, tried to get rid of it. Had it not been the courage for John McCain, we would have lost the ACA. And 2 days ago, Speaker Johnson suggested that if Trump wins this thing, they're going to go back and repeal the CHIPS and Science Act. Defunding, listen to this, defunding 115,000 jobs that are already working in manufacturing and construction, including 1,200 good-paying jobs right here in Georgia. Now, this thing is not only important for jobs, it's critical that we win the competition of the 21st century from countries like China. That's what those investments do. Now, Donald hates it when we remind him that he's almost 80 years old. He's almost 80 years old. And in that 80 years, you would have thought he would have learned how a tariff works. Because everybody else has. CEOs of Black & Decker, Columbia, and all these companies say, if Donald Trump gets his way and he puts this tariff on, it will add 20% to virtually everything you buy, costing all families about $4,000 a year. Anything you get, right out of your pocket. That dude said he went to the Wharton School. He should get his money back from that if he did. Look, you heard Doug say it. You heard everybody say it. Donald's not interested in making your life better. In fact, Donald's not thinking about you at all. I mentioned this the other day. You know, on your phone, you got the lock screen. You got your kids, you got your grandkids, you got your dog, you got your car. If you're some of us, you got it on there. Donald's got a picture of himself on his phone. That's true story. True story. Can we agree that is weird behavior there? That is weird behavior. Yeah. Look, I know we heard this. Last time, there were some guardrails around him. There was a Supreme Court before he put the 3 on it. There were some other things there. But this time, the guardrails are gone. He's looking to fill government top to bottom with hacks and fanatics. They asked him, what one thing do you regret or would you have done differently as president? My God, it should have taken him 10 years to fill the list. He couldn't think of anything except one thing. He didn't put enough people loyal to him in office. That's what he said. That's what he said. Look, the folks who were there before reined him in. Those were serious people. Generals, secretaries of defense, national security advisors, his own vice president. They were pleading with him, and now they're pleading with us. As Kamala said, they are making a 911 call to us. Don't let this guy back in power. Look, I know people are stressed. There's a few good things in this, too. Just think about this. After about 48 hours, we win this thing. We have President Harris. We won't ever have to talk about this guy again. Never. So if you're on the polar coaster, oh, we're winning, oh, we're losing, oh, we're winning, get off the polar coaster. Get off the polar coaster and do something proactive on this. If you want to get rid of the anxiety, go vote. Go vote. This room is going to be part of turning the page on Donald Trump and we get to elect a new generation of leadership. Not only do we get rid of this guy and not have to hear from him or see him on TV or listen to the nonsense again, we get to do what we saw and the world saw from the ellipse on Tuesday. That's what a president looks like. That's what a president sounds like. That is a president for all Americans with vision and compassion and grace, offering us a new way forward. Look, she promised you, we are not for sure. She promised you on day one, she is not going into the White House with an enemies list. She's going in there with a to-do list to improve your life. And we've been clear, right at the top, lowering the cost of living and putting more money back in your pocket. That is her priority every single day. For starters, she talks about, and we will do this, enacting the first ever federal ban on price gouging. Now, I'm out there talking to people. I spent a decade and a half teaching high school. You get pretty good at trying to explain things in different ways to the teachers out here. Let me explain price gouging in a couple examples. I was with a farmer up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and we were talking about food prices in different things. He grew corn, potatoes, and ran some cattle. But I said, so when food prices were cheaper, what were you getting for a bushel of corn? And he said, about $4.10 a bushel. And I said, now that food prices are higher, what are you getting for a bushel of corn? And he said, about $4.10 a bushel. Wow, that's weird. The people actually growing the food and doing things are getting the same amount of money. We're paying more at the grocery store, and the only variable in there that changed is corporate profits are at an all-time high. You think they're messing with us with the lights? Unlike Donald Trump, I just want to give a big thank you who produced these events to the folks who put it on. It's hard work. It's hard work. Usually that's me leaning on the light switch mostly, so that's what you know. But look, Kamala's got a real plan here. 100 million Americans will see a tax cut in the middle class, including the most important tax cut we can implement. We did it during COVID. That's the child tax credit. $6,000, the child's first slide. When we did that during COVID, we reduced childhood poverty by half, the largest decrease in childhood poverty that we have seen in American history. That's what we can do. And extending the cap of $35 on insulin to everyone in the country. Example 2 on price gouging. Kamala was able to get it through. That's $35 on a month for that little vial of insulin. And that's for seniors. That is life-saving that they need. Now, in Minnesota, we extended it to everyone because we had a young man, Alex Smith. Alex aged off his parents' insurance, and he started rationing his insulin. He died. He died because of that. His mom, Nicole, came to the state capitol and said, never again should a family go through this type of trauma for it. And we extended the $35 to everyone in Minnesota. That's what Kamala's asking for. But here's the kicker on this. Those of you who know this. That little vial that now costs $35 and she wants to extend to everyone, in Minnesota before we did that, they were charging $800 for that. Many times insurance wouldn't pay for it. Here's the real kicker. It costs $5 to manufacture it. Now, health is a fundamental piece of what we're doing, protecting the ACA, protecting pre-existing conditions, and she has proposed something that is transformational, having Medicare pay for in-home care for our seniors. Big deal. Big deal. I see some young faces. Those of you who are young, trust me on this, and the gray hairs in here will tell you this. You don't think much about Medicare. You start getting up around 60, you spend about half your day thinking about Medicare. because it's pretty important. She's also talking about enhancing those benefits that we paid into by making sure Medicare can pay for glasses and hearing aids. It's a smart thing. Helping the middle class. Keep prices down, protect your health care, expand Medicare, protect Social Security, and then make something that is so important to all of us, making home ownership a reality by making sure we give $25,000 down payment for everybody assistance to own a home. And there's folks that have a dream. To start a small business costs about $40,000, the initial startup cost. We offer a $5,000 tax credit presently. Kamala is proposing that we up that to $50,000 to give more people the opportunity to start their American dream. Now, folks, that's part of our plan around an opportunity economy. It is not a concept. It is a damn plan that works. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of that plan. You know something, we get asked too, because Donald Trump, his plan, adding tariffs, tax cut for billionaires, the economists all said that will add $8 trillion to the deficit. He is already the king of debt. He called himself that. He ran up more debt, and it took the national debt higher than any other president before him. So we got asked, how are you going to pay for these programs? I said, well, for starters, Donald can pay his damn taxes to the federal government, which he hasn't done. Because these guys are trying to fundamentally rework this country, making it harder to form unions, pushing workers down, shifting wealth to the few billionaires at the top, while the rest of us get the scraps that are left. Now, it's not just a haphazard thing. They really do have a plan. It's called Project 2025. It's very clear. Some of you heard me say this. I know this about football. If you're going to make a playbook, you're going to run the plays. And this playbook is a damn nightmare for the middle class. First and foremost, I want this repealing all of the good things that we know could be done, but there's so much in here that goes beyond the economic shift of wealth to the top, tax cuts for the wealthiest, gutting Social Security, gutting Medicare, making it more difficult to form a union. There's also basic freedoms in here. Some of you are old enough, and there's some of you in here, I bet, that at one time were independents or Republicans, maybe John McCain's Republican Party or a Reagan Republican, maybe, some of those folks. That's different than these guys. When Donald Trump talks about freedom, that's the freedom to be in your exam room. That's the freedom to be in your bedroom. That's the freedom to tell you what books to read. That's the freedom to force their religious beliefs on you. Those are the things they're. When Kamala talks about freedom, she means the people should be free to make those decisions, not politicians. Freedom means a lot of things. Freedom means freedom for our seniors to be able to have that dignified retirement by strengthening Social Security and Medicare, not cutting it. And to all of you in here, the freedom to dress your little ones up in their best clothes, send them to school in classrooms where teachers are paid a fair wage and the school is funded. And the freedom of those little ones to be children and not be shot dead in their classrooms. These guys don't get to frame this one. I know guns. I am a veteran. I am a hunter. I'm a gun owner. Kamala is a gun owner. Kamala and I know we can uphold, as we have, the Second Amendment while also upholding our first responsibility, protecting our children. Protecting our children. These are the freedoms we're talking about. I want to talk in this one. We got a great group in here, but I want to talk to the guys in the room for just a second. I want you in your mind right now, think of those women in your life who you love, whether it's moms, sisters, daughters, wives, aunts, friends. Literally, this election, their lives are at stake on how we vote. Quite literally. Donald Trump appointed those Supreme Court justices who, by the way, lied in their confirmation hearings and said that they would uphold Roe versus Wade. They didn't. They overturned it. And he brags about that. What he's bragging about is he's glad that your daughters, your wives, those women you love in your lives are now put more at risk and have fewer rights than their mothers and grandmothers. That's what he's bragging about. More than 20 states, including right here in Georgia, now have Trump abortion bans. Now, Donald Trump said you shouldn't worry about this. If you're a woman, he'll be your protector. Donald Trump will be your protector. He can't even open the door to a garbage truck, let alone. But you're right. Some of this would be fodder for a show that should be canceled, a two-bit comedy show or whatever. But this guy's asking to be back as President of the United States, and he's bringing a vengeance, and he's been very clear, talking about using the military against our own citizens, weaponizing the Department of Justice and doing that. So he's incredibly dangerous. Not only did he say he would be your protector, when he got a little blowback on that, he said, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. Look, to be fair, that's how he's lived his life, and a jury of his peers agreed. You see what I did there? But look, here is really truly what we're seeing now, though. Women are being turned away from emergency rooms and miscarrying in parking lots, whether they like it or not. Survivors of rape and incest being forced to carry those pregnancies to term, whether they like it or not. Fertility clinics have turned couples away at the door, whether they like it or not. For so many of us in this room, all of us in here, it's personal. For Gwen and I, it was infertility issues. And because we had access to fertility treatments, we were able to have a family. And I'll be damned if anyone in this country should be denied the same things that we had. When we hold the Senate, when we take the House of Representatives and they pass a reproductive freedom bill, President Harris will sign it into law. There's a few simple things here. You mind your business, I'll mind mine. And Kamala and I trust women, and it starts from that. I also get a pretty good vibe out of this room that women across this country, every age, every background, every political party, are going to send a loud and clear message to Donald Trump on November 5th. Whether he likes it or not. He has no idea that can that he opened up on that day. Look, Kamala says it, we're not going back for a reason. We're not going back to that. We're not going back to the 50s. We're not putting women's lives at risk. We're not busting unions. We're not ignoring science. We're not doing it. And look, we've got the opportunity. That's why I'm here. On behalf of Kamala, on behalf of myself, I'm humbly asking you for your vote on November 5th. Now look, 2 days, momentum's on our side, but we're not taking anything for granted. So I did this for too many years. Here's the deal, folks. This game is tied and there's 2 minutes left. We've got the damn ball. We got the best quarterback on the field with Kamala Harris. As Doug said, we're too damn tough and too damn stubborn to get tired. We'll sleep when we have time when we're dead. That's not it. Because I'm telling you, in Georgia, 1 or 2 votes per precinct could win the whole damn race right here. I heard you talking about those 11,700 votes. I'm in agreement with these folks. Let's win this thing by more than that here in Georgia. Let's win it by more. But I said I'll take the wind, and if that, as a Georgian said one time, that arc of the moral universe bending towards justice, I know it will. So if we win Georgia by When we win, Georgia. When we win. But if it happened by one vote, it will be Jimmy Carter's vote that did it. So that's what we'll do. So all of you here, Georgia, you got a proud history down here, and I know this will happen at some point, years in the future, when you're sitting in that rocking chair on the porch and you're rocking away as no person, and a little one comes up to you, coming home from school, where they're studying the 2024 election, when the American experiment survived, and democracy stood tall, and the rule of law held. That little one's going to say, what did you do to make that happen? And your answer is every damn thing we could. How many of you have already voted? All right. For the rest of you, we need to talk to others. Visit iwillvote.com/GA to find your polling place. Take an ID. Take somebody with you. You're doing this work because you believe in the promise of America. It is a privilege to fight for it. We know that this is our moment. I want to be in that rocking chair telling that story. And here's the deal. Georgia, you have the potential to win this whole damn thing for America. Right through here. Right through here. So as our next president taught us, when we fight, when we vote, win it for America, Georgia. Let's go.